Space Center welcomes 10 new astronauts. 2 United Arab Emirates astronauts trained alongside their NASA counterparts.
And today is their first day on the job. Joy Addison joining us with more.
Joy, tell us about the new class.
Well, Don and Scott, these astronauts will be assigned to missions that will take them to the International Space Center as well as future commercial space stations. And they also will be focusing on missions to the moon and to Mars. They say their first day on the job as astronauts is a dream come true.
I always talked about it as a child.
I have been thinking about this since I was 7 years old.
My dad will say I was 12 years old when I came in and said I wanted to be an astronaut.
I've wanted to be an astronaut basically as long as I can remember.
A dream for some, decades in the making. NASA's newest astronauts now have their spacesuits.
First time you put that on and you're getting in the water, it's impressive. You just feel this, you've made it almost in some way.
It gave me shivers.
I was like, I'll never forget that.
The class of scientists, doctors, engineers, and researchers were chosen 2 years ago from over 12,000 applicants. After making the cut, they moved here to Houston and have been training physically and mentally for their first space flight.
We learned about the space station systems. We learned to speak a little bit of Russian. We learned how to fly the T-38. We do spacesuit training in the neutral buoyancy lab. And then we learn how to operate the Canadian arm, the robotic arm that's on the space station right now.
Now it's time to report to their jobs in the astronaut office.
There's so much in front of us right now, like whether it's a Starliner flight or a Dragon flight or getting to work on a development program or work current operations with what's going on the space station right now. There's really not a bad job in the astronaut office.
And they're preparing to take that office to space.
The science that we're doing on the International Space Station, there's nowhere else in the universe that we can do that science. So we're learning things about medicines, about the human body, that space gives us a laboratory to work in that we don't have on the ground.
And the Johnson Space Center director says it'll be at least a year before we see these astronauts head to outer space. But if you're interested, applications are now open for the new class of astronauts. At the Johnson Space Center, Joy Addison, Fox 32 Chicago.